Let me introduce PepsiCo's Senior Vice President of Marketing, Media, Sports, and Entertainment, Adam Harter, and Paul Mascali, their Head of Esports and Gaming. Are you guys here? Yes? Hey, guys. I got to meet you guys last night.
All right. Hi, everyone. Thank you for giving us a few moments to talk to you about this topic. It's something we're very excited about. You know, at Pepsi, we've got a long legacy of building our brands on the back of pop culture and done it in a variety of ways. We spend a lot of time thinking about, talking about that legacy, whether it's building brand Pepsi through music, whether it's building the Gatorade brand through sports, or Mountain Dew through action sports. But recently, there's a third consumer passion point, an incredibly powerful passion point, and although it might have started back in 1972 when Pong was introduced, it's really been over the last 15 years that this space has absolutely exploded, and we believe is poised for incredible future growth and opportunity for us to grow our brands and our business in the future, and that's obviously gaming and most recently, esports. So let's talk about this a little bit. Let's just talk about the size and scale of this. You know, as we were thinking about how do we continue to grow our brands and connect with consumers, make sure that we stay relevant as marketers, firmly believe the single biggest enemy we have is apathy. And the way we've been able to continue to get consumers to care about our brands is to attach ourselves to those things they really care about. Sports and music have been part of that. But gaming has just absolutely exploded. If you look at the size of this right now, it is 8 times the size of the entire film box office. Even if you rewind back to 2017, 18, 19, before the pandemic, 5 times the size of the film box office. Bigger than music, total music revenue. So just a tremendously large-scale opportunity. What really drove it home for me is when we sat down and took a look at the single largest property across gaming versus the single largest property in film. Call of Duty is bigger than every single Marvel title ever released. It's mind-boggling. 3 times, more than triple the size of the entire Star Wars catalog at the box office. You just realize the size and scale of this property, and we never thought of it that way. We used to always think of gaming as, hey, this gaming is something that kids do. It's, yes, we got to play in the space a little bit, but it's a little niche. It's not for everybody. It's really for, you know, young kids and young adults. And it wasn't a core part of our media strategy for all of our brands. But then that started to change. And so we did start to realize that, my God, not only is this a tremendously large category, but when you take a look at this audience, and I think this is true for our brands, and I'm sure many of your brands or many of your clients' brands, they consume a lot of product. Significant over-index on energy drinks, significant over-index on soft drinks, significant over-index on snacks. And we look at it at a brand like Mountain Dew. A brand like Mountain Dew was made famous in the 90s on snowboarders and skateboarders and extreme sports. The index on gaming versus Mountain Dew is more than double action sports. So it says a lot about the connection between that brand and the synergies and fit with that brand. And so we leaned into it in a big way, starting in 2007 with a product called Game Fuel that we launched. That was simply at the time a product with a unique flavor, some graphics changes, and a partnership with Xbox 360 and Halo 3. Did really well for us. We moved into the next phase, partnering with some other titles like World of Warcraft, which did really well. And then we struck complete gold when we partnered with Call of Duty, and we delivered something on pack. We delivered codes on pack to unlock this idea of double XP, double experience points for consumers, caused an absolute frenzy at retail, and just realized, okay, that was one of the most successful in-store promotions in the history of the company across any brand. So we knew we were really onto something. It's right when, around that time, we just realized this is now moving way beyond niche. This is scale. This is something we have to lean more heavily into. But we also realized that the opportunity was much bigger for Mountain Dew, and much bigger in terms of applying it to all of our brands, because the gaming space was transforming incredibly quickly. How many people do you think are gamers here in the US, if you guys had to guess? 30 million. 30 million? Any other guess? 50 million? 2 million. Yeah, 330 million people in the US, 230 million gamers, essentially, in the United States alone. Mind-boggling numbers. And you basically if you assume, take everyone under 5 out, take everyone 75 up out, take everyone at the severe poverty level out, it's essentially 100% of everyone else in the country. And it's because of this, you see on the far right here, these new platforms, mobile, the unlock of mobile has really changed the game here. So it's not just kids and their consoles sitting behind Xbox 360s and PlayStations anymore. It's every single one of us playing, whether we're playing poker, whether you're playing Candy Crush, whatever those mobile games might be. It's turned all of us into addicted gamers. And you see it in the amount of content that's been consumed. I remember when someone first told me that there's a thing called Esports where people are watching other people play video games. It made no sense to me whatsoever. Like, who is really going to do that? And it's a multi-billion-dollar industry now. And 20 billion hours almost hours were watched on Twitch last year, which is just, again, mind-boggling. And so as we started to think about this, we realized that, all right, what's happening now is we're seeing games become more realistic, and we are seeing real life continually more gamified. And as that happens, we realize this could end up being the most powerful consumer passion point beyond music, beyond sports, beyond movie and film. This could be a new platform for the future, and it's something that we needed to build around all of our brands and think of it as a true media opportunity. It's an influencer opportunity. It's a content generation opportunity. And as we mentioned before, it certainly moves the needle from a retail standpoint as well. So the problem is that we needed to move quickly, and the competition was heating up. So we saw other competitors doing really cool things in the space, and we needed to change our approach to make progress more quickly. And what we've done at Pepsi over the years is try to make sure that we align specialists to all of these areas of opportunity where we think we need to lean in heavy and try to develop some type of competitive advantage, try to be the best that we possibly can, best in the industry. And so we've got a dedicated, media and digital team. We've got a dedicated, back in the early 2000s, we started a dedicated sports team to manage all of our sports properties, athlete partnerships. We started about 7 years ago, we built a music team to do the same. Although we had a long history in music, believe it or not, Pepsi's never had a dedicated music team until about 6-7 years ago, and so we started that. And then as I started to dabble into the gaming space, I realized one really important fact. I am old. I am old. I am so irrelevant. My finger is so off the pulse. I tried to sit down with some of these gaming partners. I didn't even know what they were talking about. And so I said, what we need to do is we need to build a center of excellence within Pepsi with someone that actually really knows the space, someone native to the space, a former competitive gamer in their own right, someone that can talk to an 18-year-old professional gamer, and then the next day can get in front of the CMO of one of our biggest customers and present our gaming strategy to them. And so luckily, I was able to convince the gentleman behind me right here that's going to come up and give you the real presentation today on everything we're doing. And Paul Mascali, we brought him in to be PepsiCo's very first head of gaming and esports. And he's done some really exciting things to help move the needle both for our brands and our business that he's going to talk to you about today. So thank you.
Thanks, Adam. So as Adam kind of expertly teed up, gaming is a mainstream form of entertainment now. Over the past 3 to 5 years, especially over COVID, this has really kind of blossomed into a main form of entertainment for the majority of our consumers across the broader portfolio. That said, there's a pretty significant problem we're facing from a PepsiCo standpoint when we're trying to communicate and talk and resonate with the gaming audience. And it's the fact that this is a highly brand adverse audience. They don't respond well to traditional advertising. So from what we've seen, gamers are 27% more likely to not subscribe to ad-supported networks. 50% don't even have a cable subscription, and 60% are using ad blockers. So for us, the traditional PepsiCo model for how we reach our consumers just frankly doesn't work for these particular consumers. So for us, we've had to think through how we can kind of adapt our strategy and become a little bit smarter to reach consumers where they're, gaming consumers where they're consuming content. And ultimately, from a solution standpoint, we've had to think a little bit more like an endemic, taking cues from brands that have been in this space for the past 15, 20 years, HyperX, Turtle Beach, Scuff Gaming, endemic gaming brands that have learned how to communicate directly with the gaming audience by natively integrating themselves across the gaming landscape. And the way we kind of envision this coming to life and have been rolling this out over the past 3 years is really targeting the six major platforms, in the gaming space. First and foremost, the publishers, the owners and operators of gaming IP, companies like Activision Blizzard, Microsoft, Riot Games, people who specialize in creating highly customized digital environments and games to kind of engage consumers. Next, esports leagues, central hubs of competitive play and tournaments, where people are tuning in by the millions to watch other people compete for monetary prize and recognition. Influencers, really modern-day celebrities with Gen Z and millennial audiences, people that can command 30 to 50,000 people watching just casual gaming play on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook. That's like what we see at attendance of NFL games, just watching them play video games. Broadcasters like Twitch, YouTube, Facebook gaming, teams like FaZe Clan and 100 Thieves, huge cultural icons now that specialize in both competitive play and influencer networks. And lastly, events. So both competitive and cultural, where hundreds of thousands of people come out together in fandom, whether it's at PAX or TwitchCon or E3, to kind of celebrate gaming culture. These are all different partnerships that we can kind of lean into and tap into to kind of help elevate our brands and communicate with the core gaming audience where they're consuming content and intercept them in real time. So from our perspective, we kind of knew this is where we had to be, but we needed to develop a special kind of playbook for how to kind of resonate with this audience. And really, anytime you see us activate in gaming, it'll really boil down to these three major pillars. First and foremost, we need to be authentic. This is probably the biggest buzzword. Anytime someone talks about gaming, you're going to hear the A word come up a ton. But it's really because it's that important. As we kind of established, this is an extremely brand-adverse audience that really can know when brands are speaking BS. So for us, we need to make sure we understand why they are consuming that specific content and integrate ourselves natively to make sure we're being additive to the experience and not disruptive. Personally, as a gamer, if I'm coming in and I'm paying $60 for a game and then I'm served pre-roll or mid-roll or anything along those lines, I'm gonna be pretty pissed. I don't want to have this kind of disruptive experience. I wanna make sure that I'm kind of getting what I'm paying for and engaging in the content that I wanna be in. Next, we need to add value, and this is some of the insights that we've had dated back, what Adam was mentioning 10, 15 years ago. Making sure we're standing out and offering real, tangible value back to the gaming community. From what we know, gamers are transactional in nature. If they complete a quest, an action, they want some sort of reward in exchange. So for us, when we're integrating our brands, making sure when they're engaging with us, we're providing something of real substantial value back to them to make sure we're kind of paying them back for that engagement. And lastly, staying relevant. Gaming, more so than any other industry, is so fast moving. There's a new game, there's a new influencer, there's a new team every single freaking day. So for us, having our finger on the pulse and listening to the people that are really making culture in this space and staying relevant is crucial. So we're constantly testing and learning new capabilities to see how we kind of cement ourselves as first movers in the space and show the audience that we truly understand them in a meaningful way. And I have some case studies here to kind of show some good examples of how each of these different kind of pillars come to life. And the first being is our partnership with NBA 2K. So obviously PepsiCo is a major sponsor of the NBA across three of our major brands, Dew, Gatorade, Ruffles. And from some of the insights work that we've found, NBA fans are 192% more likely to play a basketball-related video game. So for us, that gives us a unique kind of toolkit to expand our marketing strategy outside of just for our TV, our digital, our traditional engagements to reach the core NBA fan base. We can now leverage gaming as a pillar to kind of build awareness of that particular sponsorship. So working directly with the #1 basketball video game, NBA 2K22, we've recreated our in real life brand activations in-game to kind of reach consumers while they're playing. So whether you're participating in the Mountain Dew three-point contest, competing against other three-point legends in the space, or you're going to the Gatorade training facility where you're consuming Gatorade products and actually training and leveling up your player at our individual gym, or even going one step further and becoming the next chip deal athlete with Ruffles and becoming sponsored by the brand and unlocking exclusive rewards and really becoming the hero of the game. And really, from what we've seen, the results kind of speak for themselves. So last year, we saw 11.5 billion impressions in-game of people kind of constantly seeing our brand show up within the digital environment. And 79% of players actually felt that some of our brand integrations made the game more realistic. So when we're thinking about that authenticity standpoint, we know that we're hitting the mark where we're kind of actually integrating into the game and we're recreating that real-life experience. When people watch an NBA game, they're used to seeing Gatorade coolers on the sidelines. So when we come and we natively kind of integrate ourselves, it makes it feel like it's more connected to the real-life world. And to kind of, as a proof point here, Gatorade, we've been doing in-game integrations with Madden, 2K, NHL for over a decade now. 80% of 2K players feel that Gatorade is a sports performance innovator. To really show how we're resonating with that consumer and pushing forward the core brand message by leveraging gaming as just another media platform. So I have a brief video here to kind of show what consumers are engaging with on a consistent basis with Gatorade. It's probably one of our marquee placements within 2K, but let it roll.
Said I do it like this. Aim at a brother who wanna diss. Got a lot of mothers and lovers who wanna kiss. Cause I'm bliss. You don't wanna end up on my list. I'm a killer and the shots that I make no one ever miss. I got a funky style, I don't flip it like the rest. I just wanna sit in the sun and then bun cess.
GX bottle. Now that you're a Gatorade athlete, you get to design your own.
Hey, that's what's up, man. So how you doing, honey? Yes, we got money. And we'll come and take it somewhere that's sunny. Get up and go on the mic. Step on the stage and rock your whole life like.
Definitely screams MP.
I take that as a compliment.
So from our standpoint, this is not a billboarding game or passive messaging. This is hard-coded integration that directly affects the player's experience. So anytime they're engaging with the Gatorade brand, whether it's the thirst meter while they're competing on the court, or they're going to the training facility to kind of level up their play, Gatorade is having a direct impact on the experience and has this kind of captive audience and engaging during this kind of high engagement moment, which is really kind of showing how we're kind of pushing forward the brand goals within game. So that was a little bit about authenticity, but now we'll talk a little bit more about rewarding gamers. And as Adam mentioned earlier, we've been doing this for a while now, and we've really kind of refined how we're providing value back to the gaming audience. And I think there's no better example than the work that we've done with Mountain Dew and Call of Duty over the past 3 years, and even dating back over a decade now. For our standpoint, Call of Duty, as Adam mentioned, is an entertainment powerhouse that rivals mainstream film franchises. But for us, it's such a good brand fit for the core Dew consumer. From what we've seen, 55% of males 18 to 34 who drink Mountain Dew play Call of Duty. So we know this is where our audience is and where they're kind of constantly consuming content. And working with the #1 game in the US every single year to provide real tangible value has kind of been paid dividends for our brand. So really kind of working with Activision, the Call of Duty brand team, identifying high-tier consumable and cosmetic rewards to promote engagement and repeat purchase during a highly competitive retail window in Q4 has become kind of one of the major pages for how we activate gaming. And really it comes to life from a 360 marketing perspective, really starting with national on-pack graphics featuring the new game IP every single Q4. Every time a new Call of Duty comes out, we refresh to make sure we're kind of tying very closely back to that core gaming audience. Having highly customized point of sale, so that way when they're at the point of purchase, we're communicating the different rewards that we have, whether it's double XP, weapon XP, or the high tier custom skins to help customize yourself in-game. We're communicating to that core Call of Duty fan base. Having 360 marketing campaigns to make sure we're resonating with that core audience, where we're having highly customized creative that takes cues from the game itself, and we'll share an example in the next slide. and then really tapping into influencers to create custom content that help kind of drive that awareness with the most hardcore bullseye target of consumers. So to kind of show how it comes to life and how we've embedded our brands kind of within the Call of Duty ecosystem, I'll share some of the creative from our last year's campaign.
Hi, Greg.
Gregory.
Hey, team.
You need this. We need this.
Greg is back!
Earn new dual double XP in Call of Duty Vanguard with Mountain Dew.
So for us, this was a fun twist, and basically figuring out ways for us to integrate our brand into the Call of Duty universe. Obviously a very mature title, it's very built in warfare, but figuring out the twist for us to really build around teamwork and camaraderie, to make sure that we're showing the rewards that we're offering in game and still kind of doifying this to make sure our brands stay present. And from our standpoint, over the past 3 years, we've really kind of refined the creative tactics that we've had to make sure we're really speaking in the most authentic way possible to that broader Call of Duty consumer. So we've talked a little bit about authenticity, how we add value, but now trying to see how we stay relevant and talking about how we test and learn new capabilities. I think probably the best example that we have is the fully owned custom innovation that we launched in 2019, Mountain Dew Game Fuel, which is a product specifically designed for this audience, made for gamers by gamers. For the years leading up, we had focus groups across multiple professional teams and influencers trying to better understand this consumer target and understand what they are looking for as the energy category continues to grow. And what we found was really unique product innovations from both a packaging perspective as well as a formula perspective to make sure we're delivering a fully functional beverage designed for the gaming audience, with everything from a no-slip tactical grip to resealable technology, so if you knock the can over during your gaming session, you don't spill on your peripherals. And then even affecting the formula itself, where it's not just a soda or an energy drink, but it's truly a functional beverage with ingredients shown to promote accuracy and alertness with the right combination of caffeine and theanine. So this is not an energy drink that will get you cracked, as a lot of gamers say, with 300 milligrams of caffeine. No, it's very specifically targeted to make sure that you're not getting the jitters, you're not losing focus, that you're kind of staying within that sweet spot where you can compete at the highest level during the biggest competitions. And for a brand like this, it's really truly designed for the gaming audience. We've had to rethink a lot of different marketing strategies. And really, I'll share a couple of new strategies that we've built out specifically for the Game Fuel brand. First being the first PepsiCo beverage direct-to-consumer site that we launched at the end of 2020, gamefuel.com. So obviously in the throes of the pandemic, we saw both e-commerce grow significantly, seemingly overnight, becoming multi-billion-dollar industry, and gaming, as the major forms of entertainment began to shut down, gaming was the kind of one respite for consumers to go and consume content, feel some semblance of normalcy. So for us, we saw this as a unique opportunity to build out a kind of unique case study with direct-to-consumer, creating a brand new portal that can help us drive incremental sales and build first-party data targeted specifically to the core gaming audience with custom promotions and offerings designed for them to reach our consumers for the first time. And the learnings we're getting from Game Fuel, that was kind of the first man through the wall, so to speak, is now being extrapolated out across our broader portfolio as we've seen direct-to-consumer continue to grow as a emerging platform in the space. Next, influencers. Influencers, as I mentioned, are these modern-day celebrities. Their fandoms are insane. They can command tens of thousands of people watching them on a consistent basis, just playing Fortnite or Warzone. And really, for us, we've seen no better way to build brand affinity and kind of latch off of this, the fandom that they have created. So really making sure we're partnering with the right influencers and really speaking to their community in the most authentic way possible and learning from them because they know their brand and they know their fans better than anybody. So a lot of what we do is influencer-inspired content where we actually hand over the reins to the different creators to produce content that they know will resonate with their fan bases. So I'm going to share an example here. This is a music video that we produced with the video game streamer Dr. Disrespect. And believe it or not, this content, we only shared brand guidelines, and we let him take full ownership, creative development, treatments, production, recording the song itself. So I'll give you a little sneak peek. So this is really all about taking our brand, which as marketers, we're always kind of protecting and we're nervous about handing over creative control, but really briefing our partners and our influencers so they fully understand what the brand stands for, and then giving them the control to show and create content that'll truly resonate with their fan base. From what we saw, we had 122 million earned impressions from this with 100% positive sentiment when we released this song. It's live on YouTube. If you want to listen to the full thing, it's on Spotify. But it's really kind of an anthem that we've built out with his community. And lastly, I'd say something that we're jumping into even more, limited edition flavors. So a brand like Game Fuel that is designed with the core gaming audience in mind, this was a unique kind of capability that we were building out from an innovation perspective, really tapping into our brand partners and the communities and their fan bases that they built, and creating limited edition products that we sell exclusively on GameFuel.com, which has given us a unique kind of opportunity to capture new consumers and communicate to this audience, showing that we are truly designed for them. So what we've seen, close to 50 to 65% new consumers come in each independent drop, kind of showing how we've captured more and more of their independent audiences. Yeah. So this is all great, but it's time to see kind of how it moves the needle from us. From a measuring success standpoint, we're trying to get a lot better with measurement. And through some work we've done with Nielsen, we've seen up to 78% lifts in favorability, 74% from a purchase intent standpoint, and 56% in terms of preference. So really, these partnerships really kind of show that we've moved the needle from a brand perspective. And the last thing I'll kind of leave you with, which is probably the buzzword of 2022 at this standpoint, the metaverse, and how we're kind of viewing gaming as truly this kind of gateway to the metaverse, these fully kind of integrated, decentralized systems, which, I'll be candid, does not exist right now. A lot of people that are saying they're doing metaverse experiences, they're really in-game integrations. It's stuff we've been doing for the past decade. But I think a lot of the learnings we're taking from these gaming activations, we're learning how to intercept consumers in these digitally native audiences, in digitally native environments, so that way when the metaverse comes and is here in full bore, we're going to be ready and understand what resonates really with these these consumers. And that's it. Thank you very much for the time.
Thanks, guys. Well, I want to see first, stay up there. Does anyone have any questions? Which my head does. Anyone want to, first, before if I go to you, I do have to ask. Well, one, okay, so that guy in the thing, is that everyone's person? This is just a stupid question, but like, would it say Lisa and we'll save you? I don't know, like, is that how personalized is it? How personalized do you get when you're really being a part of it? Do you know the section I'm talking about when the guy came in and they're like, and he's ready to...
The My Player mode?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah, so that is a part of 2K. You can create your own NBA superstar, kind of live the life of an NBA player. So it's highly customized. You can create your own character, kind of fulfill your dreams, get sponsored by your different brands and stuff. It's great from a personalization
standpoint.
Very cool.
Well, that was just my own interest, my own curiosity. I do want to ask, though, obviously there's so much going on with it, and you talked about your portfolio and how you've built it. How much is your medium? Is this part of the media mix in terms of your whole PepsiCo media mix, or is it really a separate budget? Because it just seems like there's so much involved.
Yeah, I'll jump in and add here, but for Mountain Dew, I'd say we're most advanced in the way we think about it for Mountain Dew. So it's a very specific percentage of the Mountain Dew budget that is dedicated to gaming from a media standpoint. A lot of our partnerships are co-marketing partnerships with titles like Call of Duty. Some of it we allocate a certain amount of dollars specifically for influencers, but we treat that as media. So we don't look at it anymore as like sponsorship dollars like you would an athlete sponsorship. We look at them as almost their own mini network. And so we are channeling media dollars to support those influencers like Dr. Disrespect that you saw there.
We got a question back here. Lisa, back here first. So just over the next couple of days and you're asking questions, let us know who you are and where you're from.
Hi, my name is Ahmed with Clear Channel Outdoor. Great presentation, guys. I was really astounded by that number of 227 million people who are considered gamers, but obviously when you broke it down into the different categories, it's hard for me to believe that my mom, who's 65 years old, and my 24-year-old brother are also in that same category. Yeah. What you guys presented today and some of the influencer content that you showed represents, I think, more that younger audience that you're really trying to attract and trying to get involved with. What's that subset of audience of that 227 million? What is that subset of that audience that's really that true hardcore gamer on laptops, on PCs, on Xboxes, PlayStations? I know that's a very different audience that you're reaching besides my mom playing Candy Crush.
Yeah, for sure. So I don't know the exact stat. Like I remember that on that first slide that we had where the industry was changing. It's a wide amount of people that are millennials and Gen Z though that are playing games. I think at this point 85% of the Gen Z audience is playing video games, whether it's Roblox, Fortnite. It's really kind of made its way as like a main form of entertainment within that individual cohort of consumers. And I will say right now, a lot of the examples we've shown, we're very targeted right now on that hardcore audience. That said, we're trying to get smarter to figure out how we can kind of open the aperture a little bit, knowing that there is probably a brand for every single gaming cohort that we have out there in our broader portfolio, whether it's the core Call of Duty audience or the Candy Crush or the Wordle community out there that are still massive kind of gaming franchises.
Okay, just Jamie.
Jamie Richardson from White Castle, and just a two-part question, a quick one, but hats off to you, Adam, for having the vision to understand it needed this area needed dedicated resources. Was that a hard sell internally? Because those of us who grew up in the traditional marketing landscape, don't always know the language, to your point. And then, Paul, from your perspective, how's it been being that interpreter for everybody?
Well, I wish I could take credit and say it was really my vision. It was more of, not a hard sell, more of a hard push because our organization saw this. We talked a lot about gaming, and once we saw the results from Mountain Dew and we saw the explosiveness in the category, really our chief marketing officer was pushing hard to say, all right, we got to rethink the way we do this here. So I very quickly knew the type of person that I needed to find here, but our organization was definitely all in trying to invest the resources and put people in place to help us become better in the space.
Yeah, and then from like an education standpoint, I've been working in the gaming advertising industry for about 7 years now, and it's been fun to kind of watch how this industry has matured, where going from the early days of describing what Twitch is and describing to brands, hey, no, people watch other people play video games, and this is a mainstream form of entertainment, and people just wouldn't believe it, to now where it's kind of hit that threshold. And I think Fortnite was really like a main driver of that, where people started realizing the crossover between mainstream entertainment, where people are now bought in. So it's a lot easier, especially for our legacy brands like Dew, Doritos, and Rockstar, for us to say, no, this is where your consumers are engaging and consuming content. And it takes a little bit less selling than it used to, that's for sure.
Well, thanks, guys. I'm sure there's a ton. Oh,
We
we're going to
have
use one more?
one more quick one, then we'll go.
All right.
I'll make it
In
super
demand.
quick. Amazing guys. Jeff Giacchetti, Colgate-Palmolive. In the male 18 to 34 demographic, I'm specifically interested in any insights you have for maybe the 18 to 24 set, sort of the approaching independence versus the 24 to 34, newly independent. Anything you can share would be helpful.
Yeah, totally. I would say one of the more interesting insights that we've seen in that like younger demo, 18 to 24, they're actually spending more time consuming gaming content than playing games themselves. So when you think about kind of integrating Twitch and YouTube and Facebook Gaming into your media plans, like that's really where this audience is. And it's whether or not like they're consuming as mainstream forms of entertainment or trying to learn how to play better, or they're interacting with these individual influencer communities and they feel some kind of fandom in there. I would say the younger we're getting, the more people are spending time watching rather than playing.
Okay, well, thank you guys. That's great. Adam, Paul.